What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Politics with Steve. All right, y'all. So we got a lot to discuss today. I want to talk about what I refer to as the stupidest trade war in American history, and then we're gonna finish up talking about this major scandal that rocked the U.S. Pentagon. So buckle up. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. All right. So before taking office, Trump announced massive tariffs against Canada and China. But I want to take a step back and just discuss what is a tariff, right? I feel like that'd be messing up people. That'd be fucking up a lot of people when they're thinking about this. So, a tariff is just the name of a tax on foreign goods. Some companies, I'm thinking of Apple, they produce the iPhone in China. When they bring that finished good to the United States, it's going to be subject to tariffs. Some companies, they source raw materials from foreign locations. They bring those raw materials to the United States where they ultimately produce the finished good and sell it, but those raw materials will also be subject to tariffs. So now that we got that, I want to give y'all a timeline on like his tariff nonsense, right? So November 25th, before taking office, Trump threatened tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China. He said that those tariffs will go into effect day one. So fast forward to day one, January 20th. He said that those tariffs will be coming February 1st. So he delayed it. Fast forward to February 1st. He says that those tariffs will be coming February 4th. So the day before February 4th, on February 3rd, he put a 1-month hold on tariffs with Canada and Mexico. So another delay. Fast forward to February 4th, 10% tariff go into effect on China, and China immediately retaliates. February 5th, he exempts low-value packages from the China tariffs. March 4th, he put a 25% tariff to go into effect on Mexico, Canada, and China. And then March 5th, he announced a carve-out for car makers on those tariffs, which leads us to April 2nd, which is Liberation Day, which he put sweeping tariffs on almost everything from every foreign country, right? Except Russia and a couple other countries. But seriously, he just sweeping tariffs all across the board, killed the stock market and stuff like that, right? Now, if y'all notice in the timeline I just gave y'all, there's a bunch of delays, pauses, and stuff like that, right? It's because he's been hearing the feedback that everybody else has been hearing, right? You have USA Today. I think they reported that an $11 six-pack of beer would now be $13.75 because they are imported from Mexico. You have Best Buy, who says that they will have to raise prices. Best Buy, the CEO, says that 60% of their products are imported. I seen a video from Target CEO talking about the impact of tariffs and how they'll have to raise prices on things, especially like groceries, which will be going into effect immediately because those products are purchased, like, you know, when you think of fruits and veggies and avocados that are purchased from Mexico, those are going to be subject immediately to those tariffs. So the prices will immediately be going up. You have the Ford CEO talking about Trump tariffs. He says that Trump tariffs will blow a hole in the U.S. industry like we've never seen. Fox News even interviewed an auto dealer, and that auto dealer gave Fox News bad information. By the way, definitely don't think Fox News was expecting to hear this, but this is how bad these tariffs are. So I want y'all to take a look at Fox News talking to an automaker about tariffs. And then, like I said, this is why so many pauses, delay. It's bad policy. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right. Bam.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram.
Yeah.
Impact.
Dramatic. I had sold order for a customer, $80,000 truck. It's $100,000 now, so he's not going to buy the truck. It's going to sit on my lot at the higher interest rates we're paying right now for floor plan, and nobody's going to buy the truck because It just had a $20,000 price increase.
Right. Kelly Blue Book will put the number up. They say the average vehicle will go up by about $3,000. Does it sound right to you?
No, no, it will not. We don't have the broad stroke. We don't have the linear, the tight strokes. But to me, it's a 25% tariff. So that affects our parts that come from over these countries, and a whole bunch of our cars.
And you've been basing your business model on free trade, basically. This is what the American Automakers Policy Council says, Maria, in response to this. They say our American automakers invested billions in the U.S. to meet the requirements of the current free trade agreement. They shouldn't have their competitiveness undermined by tariffs that'll raise the cost of building vehicles in the U.S. and stymie investment in the American workforce while competitors from the outside of North America benefit. The German, there's no tariff on the German cars coming in now.
No, they're
Japanese.
They're going to be okay, but think about it. We built our business around that. The OEMs built their business around that, and now it changes on a dime, and we can't build a $4 billion plant overnight in the United States. So I think building in the United States is great. I think enhancing the participation from the other countries on the other things, but this is pretty radical.
I hear you.
Radical.
There you go, Maria, where the rubber meets the road here.
All
I
right,
was not
great.
expecting to hear that.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, exactly. Jeff, thank you. Thank you so much. Jeff Flock at the Dodge Ram plant there.
All right, so we all just heard what Buddy said. Now, I'm going to give y'all a separate example, very basic example. You got a company that produces dirt bikes, and the cost for them producing their dirt bikes is $10,000. But they sell the dirt bikes for $12,000, so they're making about a $2,000 profit, right? If those companies have to pay a 25% tariff, that means that that American company that produces that product overseas for $10,000, when it gets to the United States, they now have to pay an additional 25%. So 25% of $10,000 is $2,500. So now that product costs $12,500. They can't keep selling that product for $12,000 because they losing $500. They now have to raise the price of that product, that dirt bike that they've been selling for $12,000 because of this tariff. I want to remind y'all, Trump campaigned to bring the price down for goods, and these tariffs is just terrible, and they definitely don't bring the price down. On the campaign trail, he said that other people would be paying and other companies, other countries would be paying for the tariffs. It's impossible. The United States government has no jurisdiction to enforce tariffs on a foreign country or another company that is based in a foreign country, right? There's nothing that they can do to collect those money. I'm going to give y'all a random example of just how taxes are collected, right? This isn't necessarily the same as the tariffs that are placed on foreign goods, but just bear with me, right? My local grocery store is Mariano's. If I go to Mariano's right now and I buy $3 worth of products, they'll charge me, I think it's a 7% tax for a plastic bag. If I was to get a plastic bag for 7%, Mariano's would collect the money from me, but Mariano's make 0 cent from that 7 cent that I made. They have to give that entire amount to the government. So the company that's collecting the tariffs, they aren't even profit from the tariffs that they're collecting. They have to give that profit straight to the government. So when you think about tariffs on imported goods, I talked about Apple. Apple has to pay that import tax or that tariff on the iPhone, which will make the iPhone more expensive for Apple to produce overseas, which will ultimately end up being a cost that is transferred to the consumer, which is us. And just like we heard from Dude, there is not going to be factories popping up in the United States overnight because of these tariffs. And we were told that the reason that this trade war with Mexico and Canada happened was to stop the flow of Fenty across the US border, right? That makes no sense because less than 1% of fentanyl in the United States comes from Canada. So why is Canada a part of this trade war? Again, that logic makes no sense. The other reason we was told was because the United States run a massive trade deficit with these countries. The calculation of the trade deficit is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. I'm gonna give y'all an example, right? I told y'all I shop at Mariano's. So say one day I walked into Mariano's and I seen the owner, and he told me I will sell you everything in this store for $1. If I walked away with everything that Mariano's sell, shelves are empty, right? And I only spent $1, guess what? I have a trade deficit with Mariano's. It has nothing to do with the bargain that they gave me or anything like that. A trade deficit because I spent more money with them than they've spent with me. Here's the thing. Tariffs aren't necessarily a bad thing. They should be used to make trade fair, and they should be used in discretion. You know, if you have a foreign company that is receiving unfair benefits from their government, the United States may place tariffs on those products to sort of even the playing field. But some countries just have a competitive advantage over America. I mean, they may be able to get labor cheaper. There may be raw material that is found in that country in abundance versus in the United States. Like, that's why we have global trade. We're okay with that. And another thing with these tariffs is all these will do is cause countries to enact retaliatory tariffs, which we already seen. So how does this affect you? Let's say, for an example, you're a truck driver or just somebody that does something in the supply chain, but I'm gonna say a truck driver. If you're a truck driver, if these tariffs remain in place, companies will be importing less goods, meaning that you will have less loads to transport across the United States, meaning that your hours could be cut, or there may be fall in demand for truck drivers and things like that. So I seen an article in the Wall Street Journal, and it outlined like some deals that countries have been making with the Trump administration in regards to these tariffs. And one of the countries that they mentioned was Vietnam. So, according to the Wall Street Journal, Vietnam came to the table to try and get their tariffs lowered. And let me tell you what they offered the United States. They offered this to the United States. They said, we'll buy more American jets from Boeing. Good thing, Boeing is an American company. They said, we'll push through the authorization allowing Starlink to operate in their country. That's not helping the American people. Starlink is Elon Musk's company. So how is allowing Elon Musk's company to operate in their country helping the American people? Also, they agreed to accelerate the approval of Trump's $1.5 billion resort deal in Vietnam. What does that do to the cost of goods in the United States? Yeah,